So when you multiply that up by how many households there are in Iraq, the polling agency said that suggests a total of 1,220,580 deaths since 2003, violent deaths, when that kind of death, while not unknown, was pretty small before before the invasion of Iraq. That kind of violent death didn't happen a whole lot. You could say that there had been massacres of Iraqis in 1991, and that there had been a lot of attacks on Kurds at different times. But in the few years just before the invasion, that kind of violent death was not running at this rate. So what is striking about that is, firstly, that's only one fraction of the deaths in Iraq, and that they're saying that's 1.2 million. The other striking thing about it is how much attention this has received in the media, how much it's a matter for debate and discussion. Maybe this poll is wrong. That's quite possible. It's a polling agency. They normally take opinions. They're not normally out there doing this kind of thing. Maybe they've got it wrong. There ought to be a debate about it to find out how wrong they've got it. But instead, it's been shut out of the media. It is not a matter for discussion. The other striking thing about both this poll by ORB and the Lancet estimate of 655,000 people dying of all causes in Iraq since the invasion occupation is that neither of them have any information from the most violent and dangerous place in Iraq, which is Anbar province, which is where Fallujah is located. So the most violent and war-torn part of Iraq, they have no information on for this figure, and they have no information on in the Lancet figure of 655,000, which tends to suggest that unless they've got things radically wrong, the figures that they've come up with are underestimates, because they don't include places like Fallujah. So what does it matter? Does it matter that it's 655,000 or 1.2 million? What does it matter once you start to have a large number of people? Well, it matters to families in Iraq whether or not their loss is being considered, is being respected, is a matter for concern amongst the people who are responsible for those deaths. It matters to them whether we recognize the scale of harm that we have inflicted by not stopping our government from inflicting this evil on the people of Iraq. We are responsible for unleashing the sectarian violence that would not have happened if it hadn't been for the invasion occupation. We bear a responsibility for that. Now, I'll just finish by saying that over the last few years, I've taken part in a number of remembrance ceremonies where we have read out the names of Iraqis and British soldiers who've died in this war. And to be honest, the first time we did it, I was very unconvinced about the value of doing this. I thought that it was a gesture. It was something that was perhaps something poetic. There was something about it. But when we actually did it, and when we stood for hours reading out the names of hundreds of Iraqis who've died in this war and whose names have been recorded, it turned out to be a very powerful experience, because what we were saying, not just by reading out numbers, but by reading out people's names and remembering people individually, was that the people who have died, the people who we have killed, they matter. And their lives have not just shriveled up and blown away in the dust, but that they are remembered and they are respected by those of us who come after. And if we remember them and we respect them, then we have a duty to end this. Thank you.